Did you know one of the deadliest fights of the Vietnam War didn't happen in a city or a major stronghold, but in the thick, choking jungle of the Central Highlands, on hills most Americans had never heard of? Welcome to the Battle of Dak To, 1967, a showdown so vicious it carved itself into the memory of every soldier who survived it. Dak To sat near the borders of Laos and Cambodia, where North Vietnamese troops moved like shadows through the mountains. The Americans suspected a major offensive coming, but they didn't realize just how many enemy forces were massing in the jungle. The fight began in early November, when U.S. patrols made contact with NVA units. At first it seemed like normal small unit skirmishing. Then the enemy fire got heavier, then more organized, then more disciplined, and suddenly the Americans realized they weren't fighting patrols, they were fighting regiments. The NVA had built a network of bunkers, trenches, and hidden firing positions on the surrounding hills, turning the terrain into a natural fortress. And at the center of it all stood Hill 875, the mountain that would become the bloodiest battleground of the campaign. For the 173rd Airborne Brigade, taking Hill 875 was a nightmare. Every inch of ground was covered by enemy rifles, machine guns, RPGs, and booby traps. The jungle was so thick you couldn't see the muzzle flash, only the bullets ripping through the trees. Troops fought uphill for hours, sometimes gaining 10 feet at a time. Grenades, bayonets, close-quarters chaos. The kind of brutal combat that leaves you shaking long after the firing stops. On November 19th, tragedy struck. An American airstrike fell short, blasting a company-size formation of U.S. troops. Dozens were killed or wounded instantly. But the men didn't retreat. They regrouped, dug in, and prepared to keep fighting. For days, the paratroopers battled uphill under constant fire. The NVA didn't break. The Americans didn't break. It was a slugfest in slow motion. Every tree, every stump, every rock hiding a potential ambush. Finally, after 4 days of non-stop combat, the 2503rd and supporting units reached the top. The NVA slipped away into the jungle, leaving behind a hill torn apart by bombs, bullets, and bodies. The Americans held the ground, but at a cost so high it stunned even hardened veterans. Dak To killed hundreds, wounded thousands, and left the Central Highlands soaked in blood. It didn't break the U.S. Army, but it broke innocence, confidence, and any illusion that the war was winding down. And in the middle of that hell, heroes emerged. Men who charged bunkers, protected their squads, and fought through wounds that should have dropped them. And that is what we all are going to talk about next. One of the heroes of Dak To, whose actions on that mountain became the kind of story legends are built on. If you enjoyed this trip down the rabbit hole, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Smart History for Dumb Times.